Welcome to Success Your Own Way, a podcast about how real people define and redefine success throughout their careers. Hosted by Tina Shurick and Ifat Rogers, this show features candid conversations with guests who've made intentional choices, navigated change, and built lives aligned to their values. Their guests share their stories as well as strategies and tactics that help them along the way. Tina's a certified coach and a former corporate leader who supports professionals in making confident, values-driven decisions. Ifad is a consultant with a background in food science and engineering, helping people solve complex problems with a practical, no-nonsense approach. Each episode offers inspiration and actionable insights for anyone rethinking what success looks like in their life and how to get there.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Thanksgiving episode. I'm very excited we got here. So actually, I want to start with I'm grateful for this opportunity to do the podcast.
Me too.
So happy to jump into this episode. So as we're prepare for the Thanksgiving holiday, it has really gotten us to reflect on the importance of being grateful. And, just being able to take my kid to the movie or do what I love. But we had a lot of great guests this season that shared some of the things that they're grateful for. So we're going to cover some of that and just take a deeper dive into gratefulness and
gratitude.
Power.
Yes, the power of gratitude. Before we show you and reflect a little bit on some of the guests that we've had over our first season, we thought it'd be fun and important just to level set on what gratitude is and what some of those benefits are. So we'll just spend a few minutes on that, and then you'll get to hear some reflections from our guests in the past. So gratitude is really more than just saying thank you. Of course, thank you is part of it, but it really is a powerful practice that can help you transform your perspective and significantly impact your overall well-being. Gratitude is the practice of recognizing and appreciating the positive aspects of life, whether they're big or whether they're small. And it's about acknowledging the goodness that surrounds you and being thankful for the people, experiences, and the opportunities that contribute to your own well-being. This mindset shift from focusing on what's lacking to celebrating what you have can have profound effects on your mental and emotional health. And you'll hear from one of our guests, Paul, who talks about the power of abundance. And in fact, that came up a couple of times in our episode, and really having that positive mindset. And if you can embrace gratitude in your daily life, sometimes it's a little bit more difficult than others. It can really help you live the life you desire because it gives you that positive mindset. It can help you enhance your relationships and promote personal growth. So, Ifat, you want to tell us a little bit more about some of the psychological benefits of gratitude?
Yes. Practicing gratitude has numerous psychological benefits. It enhances your overall mood by promoting positive emotions such as joy and optimism. When you focus on what you're grateful for, it reduces stress and anxiety. It makes it easier to navigate life's challenges. Gratitude can also help you combat negative emotions like envy, resentment, frustration, and it really allows you to experience a greater emotional resilience. This is backed by science. Research has shown that people who regularly practice gratitude report higher levels of happiness and life satisfaction. They tend to have more positive outlook on life and are better equipped to cope with adversity. Really, by fostering a grateful mindset, you create foundation for a happier and more fulfilling life. And some of our guests talked about it.
Yeah,
so
they agree with us. And in fact, we asked several of our guests just to describe what their what they're grateful for. And so we're going to show you a few clips that really help them illuminate this for us.
One is my daughter, because that was never a given. And so like I said a moment ago, the relationship I have with being her mom is something I'm grateful for every single day. And it might sound a bit much, and it's not hyperbole. It's really true. There's not a day that goes by that I'm not grateful. And then, in addition to that, I have a bit of a mantra, which I love now, which is in hard times, I say to myself, what is this here to teach me? And so I can look back, and it is easier doing it with hindsight, but those hardships and the struggles that I've been through, and the loneliness I felt, and the the feelings of inadequacy and not being enough, all of those, and they've all given me so much, in terms of my empathy, in terms of my resilience, in terms of my fuel to just keep going and doing more for others. I can't be anything but grateful for those. So I'm very grateful that, I have a great family. They don't live anywhere near me. They're thousands of miles away, but I'm very grateful for that, because I know that that's something that not everybody has the luxury of having.
We heard from a lot of people talking about how grateful they are for families, and kind of in putting myself in a little bit of a vulnerable position, but I'm very grateful for my son. I think everyone is grateful for their family, but having been through a journey of actually getting to have my son, it feels even, no, I'm not going to say more grateful than other people, but there is a layer to just being grateful apart for the journey that I went through. I think my perspective is different. So sometimes it's hard to be grateful for hardship, but I think we learn a lot from it.
We so do. I think that's one thread that Sadie, Ifat, and I all could relate to, was just the gratitude for our children, because, it's something that some people take for granted and none of us have, because we have been through a journey to have them. And so I think it makes us just all the more appreciative of who they are.
Yeah. So we can be grateful for challenges too.
Yes, we can.
Okay.
All right. Next, we're going to hear from Alex. He talked also about gratitude. You'll hear family come in through his as well.
Yeah, every day I try to wake up the first thing in bed with my eyes closed, and think of things I'm grateful for. And I mean, everything's kind of the simple answer, but really fundamentally, my family and friends is the root. Like, that's the foundation. So just been very blessed to have a beautiful, loving family, extended, like just they're the core four of us, my parents and brother, but then aunts, uncles, a 93-year-old grandma who's still rocking it. And then, a group of really good friends in Michigan, still friends with high school friends. Now I got a Minnesota core group of friends that I know I'll be lifelong friends with. And now I got an Arkansas group. And this is kind of like the family group. So a lot of our friends have kids. So, but yeah, fundamentally, I think that the family and friends are the core. And I could go, and do a lot of other things, but that's really the core.
It's great. So Alex too, he's very grateful for his family. He talked about both his immediate family as well as his extended family who live in different places. And again, I think at this kind of holiday season, Thanksgiving in particular, it's really an opportunity to get together with family. And even if you can't be together physically, it's thinking about each other, making a phone call, sending a message, and really reaching out and making sure that people know how appreciated they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And kind of again, something that's similar to us. We don't have a lot of family close by. So I'm very, very grateful for every opportunity I do have to see. I do get to see my family, but it's, again, a little bit of a hardship, but I feel like our time together is very, very, very meaningful when we do get to spend time.
Yeah, absolutely. Absence makes the heart grow fonder, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All right. The last clip in this section is from Damon Fitzgerald, and he really talks about, in his whole episode, he talked about the importance of mental health, and talked a little bit here in this next clip about how giving back helps him feel really, really positive about his own life.
Also, giving back is a big part of the equation, and teaching was a big part of that. I wanted to spend some time, investing in young people, and particularly in something that I felt passionate about, because teaching about something that you're not all that passionate about, the kids, man, see through that so fast, so fast. So that's part of it. And I like to give back too. Like you mentioned the Memorial Blood Center. I've donated blood over 200 times with the Memorial Blood Center. So I still got a little bit left. They say I always give 100% unless you're donating blood, in which case it's not great. But
I'll see. Yeah. think one of the things that Ifat and I took away from Damon is his awesome sense of humor, and that comes through throughout his entire episode. But it really, when I was listening to him and when I was listening to this clip, it was really reminding me of the importance of giving back. And one of the ways that I love to do that is by coaching my kids' sports teams. And I start to recognize that this isn't going to be an opportunity forever, even again through some hardships of coaching, whether it be with a kid who's struggling or a parent who's unhappy. Those can be really fulfilling opportunities for both me as the coach as well as those who are around me. So that's one of the ways I like to do it. Hopefully you enjoyed those clips and kind of a little bit of a look back on some of our awesome guests that we've had this season, but we're not done. We're going to talk a little bit about how gratitude plays a role in strengthening relationships, and it really does. So if you can express appreciation and thankfulness towards others, it really deepens your connections and it fosters a sense of trust and mutual respect. And when you show gratitude to those around you, it encourages them to reciprocate. I know I've seen that. A little act of kindness from me helps others feel like they want to be kind right back. And it really creates this positive cycle of kindness and support. Gratitude can also help you build your empathy skills and your compassion, which are important for healthy and meaningful relationships. And it really allows you to see the best in others and appreciate their contributions. It fosters a sense of belonging and community. I think Ifat and I would say, we had people from all different walks of life, and I really grew as a person listening to some of these stories. And you're going to hear from one of those guests in particular in a second. And by nurturing your connections, you're going to really enrich your social life. You're going to create this awesome network, and it's going to enhance your own personal well-being. So the more you give, the more you get back.
Yeah, for sure. The one thing that kind of comes to mind, I don't want to, 5 love languages or stuff, but gratitude could look different for other people. So as you're considering the relationship, the way you would show gratitude to maybe a family member might be different than how you would show gratitude to an employee or your manager or a very close friend or someone that's farther away. So just it helps to take a step back and also reflect on what would be meaningful for the person, which is, in my opinion, honestly, half the value of doing gratitude. It's time to pause and really think about the impact it can have on another person.
Definitely. It can be huge. So we're going to hear from Christine first. She's going to talk a little bit about her relationships with her family.
Oh, wow. So much. I think my family is great. Not only my nuclear family, but my extended family, my brothers and sister-in-laws and the nieces and the nephews and the people in my sort of what I call the village of friends and things like that. So the collective is very helpful and I'm thankful for them.
Amazing. Yeah, family is a theme here. Hopefully y'all can relate.
And I love it because Christine, one of her heroes is her brothers, and her story about the car that they took apart. I still sometimes get triggered by it a little bit.
Yeah, Christine's got a lot of great stories, a lot of interesting background. Well, next we're going to hear from Ethan Johnson. He reflects a lot about his connection with his wife and how they really navigated through some challenges and some career decisions together. And so in this next clip, he really expresses appreciation for that relationship.
But if I say, hey, who are the mentors in my life? Like my number one mentor, my number one kind of confidant is Amanda. And a few things happened. Like she had a great career, great track record at both Boeing and Amazon. She got to a point in 2023 where she was ready to make a change for a lot of reasons, some of which are just need to be challenged in a different way. And so we agreed that she would take time off of work in June of 2023. And she said, okay, I'm going to do that, but I'm going to make one phone call, which kind of prompted her to move into a really cool role at a company called Rebuild Manufacturing that's doing some fascinating stuff around doing more onshoring, doing more core production in the United States. It's a great company. But what happened is she got into a space where she's like truly energized and excited and ready to go. And I do think sometimes you need to see the people around you make changes to give you the permission to reflect on what's going on within your own career, within your own life, and your own happiness, frankly.
What Ethan is saying resonates with me so much because 4 years ago, when it was time for me, when I decided that I wanted to leave General Mills, I could not have done it. I could have done it without a lot of people. There was one person I could have never done this without, and that is Neil. So it's, yes, I'm grateful for a lot of people, but that is really the main enabler for me being able to follow my new dream. And I will forever be grateful for that.
Yeah.
Even if sometimes I cry.
100%. I had a similar situation. My husband decided when our children were young to stay home with them and give up his corporate job. I don't know how much of a sacrifice it was for him. I think he was also ready, which is great, and it creates a lot of harmony in families when you are in the right time frame. But he really gave his all for a couple of years to raise the kids when they were young, and when I was running off and having my big corporate job and working too much and traveling too much, and he was there. And so now I'm fortunate in the situation where we've been able to shift that back, and now I get a chance to be with the kids and to kind of have more flexibility, and so does he. So together we've earned that, but certainly couldn't have been done without him.
Yeah, and so much give and take.
Yes, absolutely. Awesome. All right, our next couple of clips really talks about the importance of mentors. So people around us, maybe not necessarily family members or friends, but people who really have gone to bat for us, been a sponsor for us, been a champion for us in our work, as well as those who are close in our networks and help us teach us things that we need to learn. So,
but so much of my learning came from on the job stuff, from bringing my authentic self, bringing that humility and saying, David, Carl, like, tell me about this Jenkins thing, this CI/CD deployment pipeline.
Yeah.
What is this? And I would ask questions, and I would catch on and learn pretty quickly. And they were like, oh, she gets it, and she's curious. Well, we're gonna tell you. Like, nobody asked them, you have to teach Angie how to do all these things. They just kind of took me under their wing, and I owe a lot of my limited infrastructure knowledge. Like, it got to the point where I was editing config files on web servers during releases, and they trusted me with that because they taught me. They took me under their wing.
Yeah.
And
you heard Angie talk a little bit about how mentors played a role as she was changing careers, changing jobs, changing industries, and her ability to really tap into the expertise that exists was the cornerstone of her ability to be successful, and be successful quite quickly after taking this huge leap and taking this courageous jump to something brand new. And I think, in other episodes, we hear from folks who have mentors who have more experience than them and also less experience than them. And the opportunity to really surround yourself with this reciprocal mentorship has been a theme. Angie teased it up in terms of coming into something brand new.
Yeah, and Angie talked a lot during that episode about authentic self. And I think maybe part of her journey was she brought her authentic self. She got the mentors that recognized her specifically, and not just this is how we do it. So without it, it's harder. So importance of authentic self. But read the room, which is another lesson we learned from Angie.
That's right. Awesome. All right. Our next guest also talks about mentors. Mechi talked a lot about her culture and her heritage, and really brought a richness to that episode like no one else had. And she talked about how gaining mentors was something new for her, and that it's not part of her background, and it's something that she's really still learning to do.
Oddly, I'm just actually discovering that now.
Yeah.
Being firstborn here, I'm like the test child in America. I didn't have the resources growing up. I didn't understand what it was to have allies, to network, to find people you can trust. And through my career at state government the last 10 years, I really found some of those leaders that really had saw potential in me.
Yeah.
They asked me to join them at the table. I've been through a lot of barriers where they dismiss me because I don't look like them, or my name is different, or I didn't have the educational credentials at the time, and I've been overlooked. But for those that believed in me, they continue to be a part of my life.
Yeah.
They are my not just professional colleagues, but my lifelong mentors that I truly respect.
Yeah, that was a powerful episode. I think really unique perspective that Mechi brought to the to the podcast, and helps remind us all that it's really important to just take an inventory and understand who you can assist, who you can help, who you can believe in that you wouldn't normally do.
Yeah. And gratitude, it also helps promoting personal growth. It is a powerful catalyst for growth and self-improvement. Really, when you focus on the positive aspects of your life, you become more motivated to pursue your goals and aspirations. It encourages a growth mindset where you see challenges and opportunities for learning and development rather than obstacles. I like to practice gratitude. It also helps to cultivate sense of humility and self-awareness. It reminds me of the external factors and people that contribute to your success, keep you grounded and appreciative. This humility can really drive you to work harder, smarter, be more resilient, and maintain a balanced perspective on your achievement. We talked a little bit, and we're going to talk a little bit about daily gratitude. I think it's an opportunity to pause just for a second and actually think about what you're grateful for, as opposed to going through the motions, which is a bit of a theme that came out of like taking the second to reflect, which I think is one of the ways to get to personal growth by practicing gratitude.
100%. I think those little moments of just reflecting on where you are, how you're feeling, what's next, what's most important to you, though that was also reflected by our guests. So the first couple of clips we're going to play for you have to do with guests who focused on prioritization as promoting their personal growth and building overall life satisfaction. So let's hear from Angela.
Setting boundaries, prioritizing time and energy. I know it sounds very cliche, right? Like these are very easy things in theory, but strong leaders, right, truly hone those skills very well, and they get very comfortable in saying no. And one of the leaders who I've got to know very well, who is in chapter 3 of her career and her kids are raised, she's like, unfortunately, like when you say yes over here, there's something else that is getting missed over here. And for her, some of those friendships, the true friendships understood that there was a pause that needed to happen so that you could focus over here, but they pick up where you left off. And I think that's one of the biggest pieces is you find out who those really strong friendships are, because they understand those seasons of life, and that you may not be super present at this moment, but they will continue to grow with you and pick up when you all can.
No, that's not me. Master of administering business? I don't think so. With no, I'm not throwing shade at anybody who got those, right? How great. I've been impressed by so many of those folks who have either of those degrees or more. But for me, it just didn't fit. So being able to say, no, not that. I'm going to test that assumption. I'm going to say no to that, even though, yes, there would be more, money, prestige, blah, 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 all those different things that we, society would say, or we should go for. But for me, being able to say no to those and check those early on allowed me to say yes when it really came down to the importance of what's most important in my life. Okay, stage 4 cancer. I just want to stay alive, and I just want to be a coach. So that was a graduate school program at the University of St. Thomas. I did get a graduate certificate in executive coaching, and I just felt that in my body, heart, soul, mind, right, to be able to say, aha, that's it. And I felt it so strongly in that moment. I'm literally getting chemotherapy at the Mayo Clinic and on the phone with the University of St. Thomas, like, hey, I want to get in your program, right?
Well, you heard 2 great examples from some of our guests around the importance of setting boundaries and prioritizing. And I think we said it multiple times on the podcast that every time you say yes to something, it's an automatic no to something else. And Andy really illuminates that, especially when it comes to his battle with cancer that he's been in for a number of years. Such a powerful reminder to take stock in, what is most important and where do you need to focus?
And sometimes when I need to prioritize, I do reflect on, I'm grateful for needing to prioritize. We talked right before we started to record this about, we're really busy with our businesses now and it can be tiring. It's like, we're lucky that we need to
Mhm.
prioritize our opportunities. Like,
Yes.
to me, prioritization shows you have a lot to do. A lot of people rely on you. It's a good thing.
Yes.
But then you need to also take care of yourself and
100%.
make sure to prioritize the highest impact to yourself and to others.
Yeah, having those choices is a gift, but making them is
Mhm.
more challenging, isn't it?
And remembering, yeah.
Yeah, what's important. All right, our next guest talked about being grateful for writing her book. That was Jess, and she really wrote the book to create clarity for herself. So it's kind of thematically aligned with prioritization, but it was this kind of catalyst of writing the book that really catapulted her into her next chapter of success.
I'm grateful that I wrote the book. So the book's called Soul Salary, SOUL. And as you said, Ifat, it did become a #1 bestseller a few weeks after launching in the work-life balance space, which I think, thank you. And I think it's fitting because that's really what it did for me. So you write the book you need. They say that. You write the book you need. As I was writing this book on my sabbatical, I was doing the exercises. I was living the book as I did it. I'm grateful that I wrote it because I don't think I would have made the leaps I did without writing the book, because you walk the talk, right? So I've now done the exercises. I know what my plan needs to be. Okay. So that's when I didn't come back from sabbatical. I ended up turning that dimmer switch all the way off on the engineering side, for the time, right? You can always go back. Like, you change things, you try things, I'm not at that point where I'm looking to go back, but the point is, I don't want people to feel scared of like, I'm making this big change and that's final. Like, you trial and error, and so I'm so grateful that I wrote the book, and
All right, I've got something to say. So you heard from Jess talk about writing this book, caused her to go into action. And our next clip really talks about the mindset. And so there's the combination when you're trying to build something new where you both have to have the action, but maybe even more important to get started is the mindset. So you hear from Paul talking about the importance of an abundance mindset.
I think we know the clip pretty well, but
Yeah.
But as little as I could, and think as much as I could about other ways that I experience abundance. And then you become aware of that. There's this part of our brain called the reticular activating system, whose job is to sort things into two piles. The information you get, one pile.
total is length is about 50 seconds.
Okay, I think that's okay.
And I went out looking. Where do I find abundance? That tells my brain, oh, go look for this. This is the stuff not to ignore. This is the stuff to pay attention to. And I am astonished at how much abundance is just.
He's a good speaker.
Mm-hmm. He has like a good pause, and maybe I'll learn how to do that.
Yeah.
Honestly, the focus on abundance is a little newer
Mhm.
to me. I feel like slowly, meditation was not really a thing, I would say 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And now it's so mainstream. I feel like abundance is that's where we're going. I've been trying to practice that and almost like be grateful for what's out there. And now it's just up to me to go and get it or put the value out there, and the abundance is there. Again, really got me thinking this particular episode.
Yeah, it totally did for me too. And it came up in another episode as well later from Mark. I think when the most recent example I have of this is driving home from a basketball tournament with my son. and he was putting out a lot of negative things that happened during the tournament. And I said, don't put that out in the world. And he said, why? Nobody's listening. And I said, well, it's the mindset. It's your own personal growth that really needs the attention right now. If you put out that you missed shots or you had turnovers or you made mistakes, that's not going to set you up for making those shots and making those great passes and getting those rebounds in your next game. So it's kind of an interesting reflection.
Yeah, and in a way, I know I just said that it's newer, but I mean, self-fulfilling prophecy, that's a concept that exists for a really, really long time, and that's really what it is.
It really is. Yeah.
So maybe it's not as new as or as new agey as I thought.
It's just a new way to talk about it. All right, great. Well, our next couple of guests really talk about self-advocacy and belief in self. And so this really goes to both the action and the mindset components of what we've just heard from our other guests. Next, you hear from Mindy. She talks about a situation she was in where she really had to advocate for herself. And she tells a little bit of story about that.
Home. And I said to my husband, I don't think I can do this anymore. I've put literally 15 years into prepping and preparing for this role. There's no one who is better qualified for this position than me. And I knew that deep in my gut. And I immediately started searching for a new job. And about a month later, I went to him and I said, I'm leaving. I'm going to take the Dean of Career Exploration position at McAllister College. And he said, I'm so surprised. And had I known that, I would have just given you that job.
Okay.
And so that really defined my career for me, because I was brave enough to say, I can't work for this leader. I'm going to walk away. And on paper, going from the University of Minnesota, the big flagship college, the business school that I was in was known as being a top tier place to work, a well-paying place to work in student affairs. And I left that to go to a much smaller institution. And on paper, that decision looked like a really, really bad decision, right? It looked like I was taking a step backwards. Title, it was a step up, but type of institution. And that next 6 years when I worked at that institution were the best 6 years of my career. And so being able to feel safe in my own, I am confident enough to say I bring enough to this that if you're not going to respect that, I need to walk away. It was a huge turning point for me.
That is huge. Tina, I'm grateful for boundaries. I think that's something that probably took me the longest to learn how to do, and I'm still learning. But when I was reviewing all of these episodes, this snippet for Mindy, I mean, it came at a right time for me, but really focusing on these are the boundaries that I'm putting. I'm grateful for the process of putting the boundaries and for putting them there. I think I more frequently regretted putting boundaries. I more frequently regretted not putting boundaries than regretting putting them.
Yeah, I think that's a really powerful first step that you need to take. And the other step is following through on them. I mean, having boundaries is one thing, but if you walk all over your own, then you're inviting other people to do the same. What you permit is what you promote. And so congratulations to Mindy and to you too for putting those boundaries up and then really adhering to those.
And I think it also helps me recognize other people's boundaries. It's like, okay, I know what those look like now. I can recognize you're putting a boundary. I respect that.
Yeah, so, absolutely. Well, our next guest talks also about kind of self-advocacy and the importance of believing in yourself. So Mark, my brother, was a guest on our podcast, and he talked about all of the various career changes and shifts and turns that he made in his career, and the underlying theme through it all was just he had to believe in his own abilities.
Of the corporate world, I do feel like I was ready and I believed in myself and I just trusted the process and just jumped in, bravery doesn't mean that you're not scared. It just means being scared and doing it anyway.
Isn't it like the hardest thing to do? Believing in yourself. I believe in so many people, and it's the hard thing of believing in myself. And I think the main kind of point, what would you tell? Like if I'm your friend, what would I tell Tina that you're not telling yourself?
Right.
I tried to practice that. It's like be your own friend and believe in yourself like you would believe in other people that's around you.
Absolutely. We say kinder things to others than we do to ourselves all the time
All
in our
the time.
heads.
I would
So-
stop being anyone's friend if they talk to me the way I talk to myself.
All right. Well, we're going to keep working on that. But
We talked a lot about gratitude, but gratitude is not necessarily something big. It can be something small, doesn't require grand gestures. Some simple things and effective ways to practice gratitude is keep a gratitude journal. Dedicate a few more minutes every day to write down things that you're grateful for, reflecting on the positive that can enhance your mood. But with that, I like to think, we're grateful for things that we've done.
Mhm.
I sometimes like to challenge myself and say, what would Ifat tomorrow might be grateful for? What will Ifat of a year from now might be grateful for? Because I will never be grateful for things that I don't put action behind. So almost doing the putting abundance, thinking all of these things, like, okay, let me envision what I might want to be grateful for in a year, and start building towards it now.
Yeah, 100%. I think those gratitude journals are so important. They can help you overcome imposter syndrome. They can help you snap out of a triggered situation with a colleague or a coworker. Anything you can do to really remind yourself that you have it pretty good, that there are things that you really appreciate, because sometimes in the hustle and bustle of every day, you forget those things.
The second one is about expressing appreciation. If you've never received an email that says thank you, if you've ever received an email that says thank you, the smile on the face. So really take time to think about other people and thank the people that make a difference in your life. Heartfelt note, simple message, sincere conversation can really go a long way expressing your gratitude. I know that if anybody sends me a thank you email, I have a special folder with that get saved. I call it my emotional savings account. And every once in a while, I'll go back just to understand the value and the things that the value I was able to deliver to anyone, friends, family, colleagues.
Goes a long way, doesn't it? That little appreciation. I'm reflecting on a couple of other episodes in our series this season. One from Jess, who talked about soul salary, and really this, putting currency into your soul, and gratitude can be one of those things. And then Christine also talked about some coaching that she gave her military vet clients about a simple thank you note can get you a job. I mean, these are great examples of how it can make a difference. Another thing you can do, another tip, is really practicing mindfulness and even meditation. It can help you cultivate a deeper sense of appreciation in the present moment. And again, with things how busy, especially getting closer and closer to the holiday season, we know things are just going to continue to get busy. And your ability, maybe it's first thing in the morning, maybe it's right before you go to bed, is just lay there and think about one thing you're grateful for. And that can often be a really great way to start your day, or a great way to end your day. It really helps you, if you can be here now, to think about what it is you really love, the blessings in your life, the beauty in life. We had the Northern Lights the other night, and we went out and looked at them, and I was like, man, this world really is beautiful. It really can be.
I have such big FOMO. I did not go out and look at them, and then I had to leave social media for 2 days because I was the only one without a picture of the pink skies.
I will share mine. All right. And then the last tip we have for you today is really just getting out there with some acts of kindness. We talked about giving back earlier in the episode, but whether it's helping a colleague, or volunteering, or just smiling at someone in the grocery store, or on the street, those can make a huge impact on somebody's life. And so not only will it help them, but you get something back when you give. And so reinforcing your own sense of gratitude. So hopefully you'll find those tips to be of use as you approach Thanksgiving and the broader holiday season. With that, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this episode. We hope you've really enjoyed it and have seen how important gratitude is. And it can really help you live the life you want, get that success you're looking for by fostering that positive mindset, really helping you strengthen your relationships and helping you grow personally. So by embracing gratitude in your daily life, it can really transform your perspective, enhance your well-being, and give you that deeper sense of fulfillment. It's not about waiting for extraordinary moments either. It's really about finding the joy in the ordinary, because 99% of life fits into that category. And so if you wait for the big moments, you'll miss out. So as we enter Thanksgiving, we invite you to find gratitude every day.
And we're grateful for you, our listeners. We've had 17. This is our 17th episode. Very grateful to our guests that join us on this journey, and to you, the listeners. This podcast would not exist if we were talking to ourselves. Usually, I think, maybe it will still exist. I just enjoy
just
talking
a little
to
bit
Tina,
more fun.
But thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Thank you for joining us on Success Your Own Way. We hope you found this episode inspiring and took away actionable insights. Please tune in for our next episode. And if you know someone who is rethinking what success looks like in their life, please share this episode with them.